Hi, everybody, and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and today I'm joined by Eric.
Hello.
And today we are continuing our Falcon Crest segment, Don't Touch My Grapes. And we are finishing out season 1, and Eric has graced us with his Angela t-shirt today. So today we're talking about season 1 episodes 14 through 18. And that'll wrap up season 1. So I will roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So episode 14 is titled House of Cards. And Chase finds Emma wandering out on the road.
As usual.
She tells him that every time she goes out for a walk, she tries to go a little bit further so that she can eventually make it into town.
Poor thing.
Aww. She just wants her independence. And he offers to take her into town anytime she wants. Just give him a call. When they're back at the house, Emma makes a comment that she never told Chase how peaceful Jason looked when he died. And Angela commands Julia to take her to her room.
Yeah.
So this is kind of where Chase is starting to question the details of his father's death.
We'll talk again soon, Chase. I never told you how peaceful Uncle Jason looked when he died, have I?
Julia. Thank you again. That was very thoughtful of you, Chase.
Glad to be of help.
I had in the car when she had Chase's hand, and she said, "You have hands just like your father." I was like, oh, awkward, but all right.
The way that she is treated and sometimes acts, I'm like, is she supposed to be underage? Because she's 40 playing underage, if that's the case.
I don't think she is underage. I think she's just
but they treat her as if she's a high school kid. Get out of the house.
Right. Right. She's clearly she's clearly 39 years old, 40 years old. Nah, she might not be that old.
That's being mean. She could have been in her late 20s at the time.
I know. Yeah, look at it. Yeah.
So Angela is pushing Lance to court Melissa Agretti so that he can marry her, even though he doesn't want to marry her.
Yeah.
And this is where I really start to love the show, because we finally got the real Melissa, played by Anna Alicia. And God, I just love her spunky, spicy attitude.
She brought it. She brought it 110%.
And I just love how much they hate each other. For no reason other than the fact that their families are forcing them to be together.
Right. Well, I think that's what it's one of the first cases of love-hate relationships where they hate each other so much, and then they're just let's love each other eventually.
I guess you could say their first date is they go horseback riding.
Yeah, I guess so.
And Melissa kind of rides off on her own and comes across Cole working, and she flirts with him.
Hey, take it easy.
Well, if it isn't the gentleman farmer.
You call this a gentleman?
I haven't seen you since that awful dinner at Angela Channing's.
Yeah, that's kind of awkward, wasn't it?
I never heard from you after that.
I didn't think Lance would appreciate it. Besides, I didn't have your number.
Well, Vicky and I have dance classes together. If I see her, maybe I'll give it to her.
Maybe.
You have to promise to shower first.
Yep, she likes Cole. You see the gleam in her eye.
Melissa and Vicky are in the same dance class, which I feel is a plot point, because I feel after season 1 we never hear about Melissa's love of dance.
No. Not even after this episode, you never hear about dancing again.
I was trying to be generous. I was trying to be generous just in case it comes up one more time.
don't think it does.
She gives Vicky her number to give to Cole.
Yep.
Lance moves to San Francisco to avoid having to marry Melissa and to start working at the New Globe.
This is the several times he tried to go to San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Throughout this season.
I was like, oh, he did it. So he could just stay with the blonde girl from the last episode we watched.
Right? Yeah, right.
I didn't really take many notes on that story, but he kind of is working his way from the bottom, but he's kind of got this attitude about him because his grandfather owns the company, and the workers are kind of, coming down hard on him because they expect him to work. And he's taking like 2-hour lunch breaks and
yeah, doing what he wants.
Maggie and Julia take Emma to the clinic to speak to someone.
Dr. Banning.
I liked when the doctor came out and he was trying to figure out which one was Emma, and she's like, "I'm the crazy one."
The crazy one. Julia's like,
Dr. Banning.
Hello, Meg.
How nice of you to agree to see us on such short notice. This is my cousin, Julia
So
Thompson.
nice to meet you.
How do you do? Nice night.
This is my sister, Emma.
I'm the crazy one.
Come in.
I love Margaret Ladd's. It's Margaret Ladd, right?
yeah, Margaret Ladd.
I love her one-liners, the way she delivers them.
She's excellent. Every part of her is excellent. Even when you look in the background, I noticed that
She's always
several
doing
scenes-
something.
she's always doing something in character, and she kills it. She's so good.
Maggie tells Chase the doctor thinks Emma was there when Jason died. So this further pushes him to investigate the circumstances.
Yes.
When Angela finds out Emma went to the doctor, she tells Julia the reason she's been so protective is because Emma killed Jason.
Yep.
So we've seen, we knew that Julia and Lance doesn't know, right?
Not at this point.
But Julia kind of suspects something's off because we've seen her lurking at the door while Angela's talking to
Right.
Emma. But this is the first time she gets confirmation of what actually happened.
I feel like a lot happened in this episode. It felt like a 2-hour episode.
Really?
Because you got you get the introduction. Well, you got the introduction of Melissa, and a lot happens with that stuff alone. And then you have all this stuff with Dr. Banning and Chase. There's a lot.
Yeah, so much happened with Melissa that it felt like she, like you said, it felt like more than one episode. It felt like she had just always been around for or at least for a while. Not that one episode where she barely spoke and it was a different actress.
Thank you.
But they spaced they spaced it out so much that you really I didn't remember what the actress looked like.
Right.
Julia tells Maggie and Chase that she thinks the doctor did more harm than good as a way to protect Emma, which perplexes them, and they're like, "What is going on? Why the turnaround?" It's
yeah, all of a sudden, because she's the one that went to them for help, and now she changed her tune.
Angela alerts Carlo that Melissa has been hanging around Cole. And I have Melissa lets Cole drive her car, and they make out in front of her house and are caught by Carlo.
Yep.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
I'll give you all day to stop that.
Melissa,
Papa,
get in the house.
anything you say, Papa. I just want to drop.
Now!
He can't walk home. Papa!
Hey! Get in the house! Hey!
Coldo!
Don't let me find you with my dozer again.
Maggie and Chase plead with Douglas to help with Emma.
Oh. Yeah, he's in the hospital still at this point after his heart
No, this
attack,
is
right?
the episode ends with Douglas questioning Angela about Emma, and he has a heart attack.
Oh, right. Sorry, it all
And-
blended together.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of overlap with these episodes as far as the story. It wasn't as like condensed.
Right.
Which is why I think I like these episodes so much, because it starts to feel more like a soap for me anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure. It definitely does.
I like how Angela was like, she looks at Chase and she's like, "This is all your fault," or something along those lines because of the heart attack.
Oh yeah. Yeah, what does she say? Oh yeah, because she says that. No, I don't. Does she say that in this one? Because remember, she said initially at the end, she's like, "What's done is done," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Damn, that's her man."
Yeah, right. Oh, you're right.
Who
You're
else
right.
is she going to date? Well, I think that one's the later one. I think because she say that.
Oh, okay. I remember. Well, I thought she had blamed him for the heart attack, and then you're right.
Not this time.
The last scene, they're in the hospital. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add about that episode?
Again, they still have time for those little moments, like with like Cole and Vicky. Like I like that. Like she's like, don't go out with Melissa. She's going on another date with this guy. Like I love those moments. Like the brother. Like they're still keeping those moments in there, even though like the drama is like heightened.
Mm-hmm.
I like that stuff.
And we see her with. They don't really show them much or give them much of a story. There is an episode where they have a little bit of a story, but she's still with Mario. They're still like a couple.
I think that's coming up, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think so.
So,
Yeah, I
episode
guess I'm good.
15 is called Heir Apparent. I didn't really like part of this episode. Is this the driving? Yeah, the drunk driving episode.
Mm.
Because I'm like, who's this person? Why do we care about him? Like,
Well, we're trying to teach a lesson here.
yeah, I was like, oh, I was
Don't
like,
drink and drive, kids.
No, I get that. I was like, wow. I was like, we were
Right.
It's just I don't want to say it's a mixed message. I do want to say it's a mixed message, but I don't want to say the show is giving a mixed message. Because at the time, I feel like they were still showing pregnant women drink. Like, there were things that were happening that so they were like, ooh, you don't do that anymore.
Right.
Like, pregnant women drinking, smoking. We were starting to be aware of these things, but they were still kind of in TV shows.
Right.
So this was like 82 probably at this point. So I was like, oh, we're talking
Yeah,
about drunk
I think so.
driving. Okay. It felt soon for me.
You're like, I'm not ready for that.
I thought that was like a 90s thing.
Yeah, right. Well, I also think it gave Cole that kind of angst, like it's my fault, and
Mhm.
when he goes to Chase, and I think it gave him some good moments with Chase in that
Yeah.
episode.
So Maggie and Chase are throwing a party. And Chase finds Emma dancing outside by the window. That was funny. She's just like
Emma? I didn't know you were here.
I heard the music and I just came running. I am having the loveliest time.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Should you be drinking wine?
Oh, Uncle Jason always let me drink wine. I think about him all the time.
I know you do. You must have loved him.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry about that night. I wish it had never happened.
What happened, Emma?
Emma? Emma, you shouldn't be here. Will you excuse us, please, Chase?
Sure.
I'm not going home.
Yes, you are
No,
going
I am
home.
not.
What are you doing here?
Go home.
You are going
I am
home.
entitled to have good a time as anybody else, and the party's not over.
The party is over for you, Emma.
God, I love that woman. She's so good. She's so good. She teaches acting now, by the way. I
She
looked that
does?
up a few years ago. Yeah, Margaret
Oh,
Lowe
wow.
teaches acting. Yeah, I thought like
She-
she retired. Well, she might have retired from that since then because I looked it up probably like 5, 6 years ago. And but yeah, as far as I know, she did teach acting for a while.
She says she loved Jason and she's sorry about that night. Like that night. So another thing to kind of alert Chase, like something is off.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And he really
Juliet-
want, Chase. He wants to get the truth.
yeah. Juliet intervenes and she grabs Emma to leave the party.
Yep.
This is what we had referenced. Bill Reed leaves the party drunk with his girlfriend and crashes the car into a lake on his way to, I guess, their lake house or cabin.
Which that girl? Do you know the show Veronica Mars?
Yes.
That girl is Veronica's mom.
Oh, really?
The way.
I
Side
never would
note.
have guessed. I did
Yeah.
watch that, but I wasn't like
Yeah,
a
I like-
diehard.
I like that actress. She plays her in like season 2 or 3, I forget, because she's like the deadbeat mom that kind of
Yeah.
comes back into
Yeah, I
Veronica.
remember
like,
that.
She's not in it that long. Right. Anywho, go on. Sorry.
Cole blames himself because he was asked to go and he turned him down, and he feels like he's responsible for it happening.
Yeah.
Um,
Be angsty.
We find out Melissa is pregnant. That was the
Mhm.
big bombshell, I feel like, of the episode.
Are those the results?
It's good you came in. The test is positive.
Pregnant?
Oh, another big bombshell. Angela tells Lance that she didn't cut him out of the will. She basically edited the will or updated it. And
Well,
there's contingencies.
but why does she do that?
There's contingencies on him marrying Melissa, and he has 90 days to do it.
right. But that's but remember in this episode, that's when Lance found out the truth about what happened to Jason. So he blackmails her. And that's
Mhm.
why she's like, well, I changed it. So at first she was like, I was gonna disown you, but like
Yeah.
now he has something on her, so she had to play a little bit nice. But yeah, she still has to marry Melissa.
Yeah.
Or he still has to marry Melissa.
So, well, we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Oh wait. I do have another note with the funeral for Bill and Ann. That was their names, the people that we didn't know for long. For 5 seconds. Father Bob, he didn't do the funeral. And Father Bob is like a consistent through the whole series.
Okay, so
I
he's
will say.
not to jump too far ahead to the next episode, but he is the one that marries Lance and Melissa, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, it's the guy from like future seasons. I'm thinking about like season 5 when
And
the priest comes.
and he does a very soon funeral. I think in the next 2 episodes, I think we're going to talk about. But yeah, that's when Father Bob's around.
Yeah,
This
I
guy
never
is not
quite.
Father Bob.
I mean, this technically is only maybe my second full watch through from the beginning.
Mhm.
But I never realized that he had been around so long.
Yeah, he's on till season 9.
I realized that
Until
the
season 9.
oh really? I realized
Mhm.
that Angela's lawyer had been around for a while. Well, till he's not.
Philip?
Yeah, Philip.
Yeah, I love Philip. Philip is he's a good shiesty guy, and that actor is great. I mean, he's Mel Ferrer. He's from like a lot of classic movies. But
Episode 16 is titled "The Good, the Bad, and the Profane." I have Mario's father catches him in bed with Vicky because they were supposed to go on a trip with friends, and they said that they missed the bus or whatever, or the train, and they're like,
yeah.
"You two missed it, but the others managed not to."
Yeah.
Um,
And then
so this is
in the beginning, remember Melissa and Cole finished their date, and he drops her off with Lance for her other date. Remember right in the beginning?
oh right.
He's like, "Do you have to go with him?" And she's like, "Yeah, I have to go for my father." And she's
Yeah.
like, "All right." And then she goes to play pool with Lance and whatever. Go on. I'm sorry.
I don't really have. I took a very like quick quick notes on this one because I guess I was really into the episode.
Yeah, I get it. It was a good one.
I have Lance ask Melissa to marry him and gets angry when she accepts.
That's great.
Well, look, I came over here to ask you a question. It may sound a little silly, but let's just say I'm fulfilling an obligation. Try not to laugh.
Go ahead. What is it?
Will you marry me?
I'd love to.
Now, wait a minute.
I should warn you, though, I hate long engagements.
Wait a minute. Have you been talking to my grandmother?
No. Have you?
Melissa!
Papa! I have the most wonderful news.
Shut up.
He's so upset because he thought she didn't want it either, but she's like,
Yeah.
she does it for her dad.
She does it for her dad, but also she's pregnant, so she kind of has to use this in a way to lock it down and make him look like her father.
Yeah, that's why I like Melissa so much. She's a very complex character. And you
She's
can
thinking
see
2 steps ahead or 10 steps ahead.
she's trying. Yeah, that's why Chase. Remember, Chase said every time he sees her, it reminds him of Angela. Because like that's how she is. She's thinking.
Melissa tells Cole she's marrying Lance, but it doesn't mean she's unavailable. So he's like, he's so pissed off at her, and she's like, what? She's like, it doesn't mean we have to stop doing what we're doing.
Yeah, like nothing's wrong. What are you talking about? Nothing has to change.
This is just, business.
Unusual Cole kicking things and angry.
Yeah.
And I get it.
So Vicky, we finally get an age on Vicky. Vicky turns 18 in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And her and Mario announce at her party dinner that they plan to live together.
Over my dead
Random note, I put Emma says to Angela, "How's tricks?" Like she said it again in this episode.
I have that.
I was just like, oh, I thought
She does.
I thought it was just in that one episode, but she brought it back.
No, she kind of says it. It says, Emma tells Julia that she wants to be a psychiatrist. Angie comes in and says she says how's tricks to her. Of course, Angie. And then doesn't she like lay on the ground or whatever and like be her psychiatrist?
Uh-huh.
I love that. She's so cute.
I put Lance and Melissa don't hide their disdain for one another, even though they're about to get married.
Yep.
So Vicky and Mario ran off to get married also, and I liked how they cut Melissa and Lance's wedding versus their wedding, and you kind of didn't know if Vicky and Mario were getting married.
Is that in this? Oh yeah, that is in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, that happened quick. I didn't realize.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This Melissa, this is only her 3rd official episode, but it feels like she's been just been in it. She's done so much in 3 episodes.
Yeah, she met up with Cole, wanted him to come to the wedding, and he's like, "Are you crazy?" And then, of course, he goes to the wedding. He stands in the sidelines as she says her vows, looking at him.
Yeah,
but
I kept expecting him to interrupt it.
Right. I know. Well, I think he wanted to.
Yeah, I didn't remember how this went down.
Right.
And
Father Bob does marry them.
Yes, this is when I was like, oh, it's the guy from later seasons.
I liked when Angela looked at the ring that Lance had. It's hardly Tiffany's. He's like, well, if you wanted a ring, pick one out yourself.
Right. Well, didn't he had a line, basically, he said it's like your wedding, or like you're the one marrying her, not me, or something like that.
Right.
And I love,
so funny.
I loved at the reception, this was like the end cliffhanger or end scene. Lance and Melissa are like cutting the cake and they're feeding it, and she says she's pregnant. And he's like, yeah, right. Like nobody will ever buy I've never touched you. Nobody will ever buy that.
Right.
Like not believing that she really is pregnant, and she's like, she basically says, "No, you're gonna be a father." And then they take the camera, and he's like, "What?" That's just like her.
Right.
Enjoy it while you can, Melissa, because the first chance I get, I'm filing for annulment.
And what would your grandmother say to that?
After living with you for a month in Falcon Crest, I'm sure she would insist on it.
Even when I tell her I'm pregnant.
Don't flatter yourself, Melissa. I wouldn't touch you.
You won't have to.
What?
Going to have a baby.
Well, it's not mine.
It is now.
Well,
I
he
was
said,
like, oh
he's
my
like,
God.
he's like, yeah, he's like, it's not my baby, and she's like, it is now, or something like that. He's
It
like,
is if I tell everybody it is.
yeah, right, exactly.
The time before DNA tests.
And I do like, I know, right? I do like the Julia Lance moment. She's trying to protect him with Angela. She's like, you know, does he have to marry like her? And then he's like with him, she's like, you know, you'll learn to love her. She's a nice girl. Like she's trying to like Julia's
She'll grow
really
on
like all
you.
over the place. Right. I feel bad for Julia in this. But she's like, because remember in that one part too, right after I think the wedding ring part, she's like, do you blame me for this? Like, because like she has no control, you know, and she wants to, but you know how it happens eventually.
So the final two episodes, episode 17 and 18. 17 is called Penultimate Questions, and 18 is called Ultimate Questions. I kind of view
Can I go
this
back
as
one
like,
second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I go back 1 second? So there's an actress. Remember when they were jumping? I'm sorry I didn't say this before. When they were jumping between wedding scenes, the actress. Have you watched any of the 80s General Hospital yet?
No.
No. So when Emma Samms comes on, there's her nanny growing up is the lady that's with Vicky and Mario,
Okay.
Mrs. Bushnell.
Okay.
So she's Holly's nanny, and she becomes kind of important in the Holly storyline later in GH, which you'll see eventually.
Okay.
Go on, I'm sorry.
Now that happens a lot. A lot of daytime actors are like pop up
Mhm.
in smaller roles or bigger roles, and then they go back to daytime. At that time,
I know, I love that.
So episode 17 and 18, I kind of saw as like a two-parter. I feel like the story was very similar with the trial, and it wasn't really a trial; it was more like an exploration.
The inquest.
Inquest, yeah.
Which I don't understand the difference. It looked like a trial to me. So
Yeah, pretty much. Angela's lawyer is basically trying to say that Emma is not mentally fit to be questioned, and Chase's lawyer is like, well, did a doctor decide that, or are you just going off of what you think and what you're seeing?
yeah, Philip is trying to pull all the stops to not have Emma go on the stand or even be in the courtroom.
Yeah, and it just felt like it was very flimsy of him to be like, to say that she was mentally like unable to like sit on the stand and not have a doctor say that. Like, you're supposed to be a really good lawyer. This doesn't feel like a really good lawyer move.
Right.
Angela always brings it back to Falcon Crest. She just thinks that it's Chase's way of getting 50% of Falcon Crest. Well, actually, wouldn't he get most of it? Not even 50?
He would get all of it.
He would get all of it because he did.
Because of the circumstances with Jason's death. He would get all of it. So he's actually pretty generous. But we'll get to that soon. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So we open up actually on Melissa and Lance's honeymoon, and they're like by the pool. And Lance goes to get her a drink, and when he comes back, there's like 3 or 4 guys like flirting with her. I'm like, this bitch is not only married but pregnant, and she's still, flirting with everybody.
And I do have a problem with this because they're in Speedos, but Lance is in pants. What's going on?
That feels good. Fistful of fire. That's nice.
I'll just stick around Waikiki.
Too bad. We go to Maui the day after tomorrow. Take a hike. Says who? Her husband.
I don't think
He does-
Lance's speedo game comes more in season 2, I believe.
Yeah. When he starts bringing like his girl of the week around, even though he's married.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. While Melissa sees Cole on the side.
Yeah. I just love that dynamic. I just love how they know that each other hates each other and they're seeing other people, but they're married.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, remember, I think it was in the last episode. Remember, Lance set up Melissa like, "This is what you're going to get," and she's like, "Whatever."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when they actually do end up kind of breaking, but this is seasons away, but they end up actually falling for each other.
In a hate way.
Yeah. Well, Melissa, I feel like Melissa more so than Lance, but still.
Yeah.
But that's very far away.
Yeah, right.
Melissa and Lance come home from their honeymoon, and I don't remember how this happened, but there was a phone call about, oh no, the will. Was it Douglas's will? Douglas died.
Douglas
That's what-
died. Wait. No, he died at the end of this one, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
I'm mixing it up because
End
I'm
of
mixing both the episodes together.
The other hearted. So was I. I'm like, wait, what's going on? All right. So yeah, he's not. So at the end of this one, he something. He does die.
Yes.
But he's not
Because-
dead yet.
Right. Okay. So that's how he died, because he was begging Angela to let Emma
Yes.
tell the truth.
Yeah, because weren't they in court? And I think.
Yes.
Wait, what do I got? Angie testifies. Douglas brings Emma, and then he has a heart attack and dies. Angie says, "I'll never forgive you for this, Emma." End scene.
Right.
Get back, please. Get him there, please. Somebody call a paramedic, please. Hurry.
Let Emma tell the truth.
Douglas.
He's gone.
Douglas.
I'll never forgive you for this, ever.
So in his will, he left like everything or a lot of things to a Richard Channing.
Who's that?
So this is the first time we're hearing a mention of Richard. So I was getting excited because I love Richard. I know you hate him, but I love him. Now,
I like him
when you
maybe
say
once a season.
when you say you hate him, is it like I hate Chase, like you just can't stand him, or you like him, but he's just so evil you don't like him because he's an evil character?
I have a lot of issues with him. We'll go through it as we watch it.
Okay.
Because it's the same. Like if you have like when you have your little positive Chase moments, that's me with Richard. So like I'm like, okay, he did this for Julia, but he did this, and I hate him. Like that type of thing. But we'll get there.
Melissa announces to Angela and Julia that she's pregnant.
Right. Well, remember in this one, Melissa's hearing things, walking around hearing Emma scream and cry.
Scream, cry, laugh, whatever she does, like everybody who
Yeah.
does these
So,
days.
and Melissa's like, "What's going on here? With their
Yeah.
secrets? Like, what's happening?" And then she goes to Chase. And that's why I like Melissa and Chase's, whether that like friendship through the whole series. They kind of are kind of like respect each other because of how she goes to him for help in this, and it kind of maintains throughout this series. You'll see.
Angela wants to find out who this Richard Channing is, so she has somebody in New York checking it out. And while the trial is going on, Melissa answers the call about Richard. I liked when Emma snuck out of the house to go to the inquest.
Again,
I was like, girl, you're running in heels and that nice dress. And she goes running, and I laughed because I thought of you, how you said that you like when Angela's like, Charlie, because Lance was like, Charlie.
He gets it from his grandma. Yeah.
And they go like searching for Emma because they don't want her out of the house.
Right.
And she finds Cole, and she like begs Cole to take her to the inquest.
He's like,
and
yeah.
Charlie and Lance pull up as they're getting in the car. And he basically says, I'm going to do what Emma wants. I'm going to bring her or whatever. And Mario says, go ahead, I'll take care of this. And he has like I don't know what that's called.
An axe or something.
Well, yeah. And at first I didn't
Whatever.
realize what happened or what he meant when he said, I'll take care of this. But he poked a hole in the tires of the limo.
He sure did.
And they
Slowed
sped
him
off.
down. That was awesome.
Emma? Emma, what are you doing way out here? Now, you know how grandmother gets upset when you wander.
Tell you what, I'll take her home, okay?
You do yourself a favor, Cole, and stay out of it.
Why don't we ask Emma what she wants to do?
I want to go to the inquest.
The inquest? Emma, what for? There's just a bunch of stuffy old lawyers there.
I don't care how old they are. They'll listen to me.
You go ahead, Cole. I can finish up here.
You do yourself a favor, Cole, and stay out of this. I don't think you've got much to say about it. Let's go.
The tire's flat.
Get the spare.
To rewind a little bit before we get to Emma coming to the inquest, I thought it was cool, and I wondered when they were showing Angela's recounts of what happened with Jason, that they were coming home from a show, and that he was drunk and he like sped ahead of them and crashed. I wondered if they had filmed those scenes when they filmed the pilot, and then they just like inserted it.
I don't think they did. I think I don't think they knew exactly what was going on that early. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, we might have to look up a writer or something to see if they like or whatever. But I'm pretty sure they like recreated scenes, and they probably just got the actor back for to recreate it.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
But Emma ends up, Cole ends up taking her to the inquest. She gets there, she takes the stand, and she explains everything that happened. And the DA decides that it's not worth, pressing charges against her, because it would just take months or years because, Angela would fight it every step of the way. And then even if there was if they won, if they could have a retrial or whatever. So he decides not to press charges, and Chase doesn't want to see Emma go to jail anyway because it was an accident.
Right.
So now Angela's all like, he thinks he's going to get everything, and Chase is pretty fair. I will say I liked him in this moment. I like that he had the upper hand, and he just...
All he wanted was the truth.
Yes.
That's all he wanted. He said it from the beginning.
And perhaps it was because he wasn't really close to his father, because I just feel like he was just like, whatever, now I know the truth. You killed my father.
Right.
We're family. I was like, I feel like this would have went different if you were really close to him.
But I feel like he said we're family in a like, we're family. Like he knows, she's going to fight him tooth and nail and whatever.
Right. So they basically go 50-50, and he says that'll keep them on each other's toes, like watching each other.
And I feel like Angela... Oh, God, I'm sorry.
that's when he kind of is like sarcastic. Is like, Angela, we're family, and he kisses her on the cheek. And
I'll fight you all the way. You know that.
Fine. That'll keep us both on our toes and ensure our success.
You won't be any more successful than Jason was. I'll see to that.
Then it'll be business as usual, won't it?
All right. I'll have my lawyers draw up the papers.
No rush. After all, we're family.
He thinks he's won.
I was like, that was awkward, but okay.
It was. But I think she kind of respects him in a weird way. Like, just, I don't know. She hates him, but she kind of respects him.
Yeah, and there's moments throughout his seasons where if there's an outsider or an interloper, they'll band together to like protect the family.
Right.
But once that's over with, we're back at each other's throats.
Right. Well, Richard's a perfect example of that as when we get to him, but
yeah.
You know, we'll get there.
Also, so Melissa comes to the inquest. This is at the end where everybody's, it's over now. And she says that Richard Channing calls. And that, what did the guy say? He's only afraid of two things in life, death and Richard Channing. Or a violent death and Richard Channing.
Mm-hmm.
And Melissa's kind of makes me want to meet him.
Yeah. I can't wait to meet him.
I can't wait to meet him. I love Richard.
I love that Emma apologizes to Chase at the end. He forgives her pretty much because he knows she would never hurt a fly.
Yeah.
And then Angela calls for Emma, but Emma's like, "Well, Cole brought me, so I'm gonna go home with him."
It would be. She says something like, "It would be unseemly for me not to leave with the man that brought me," and I was like, "This is the Emma going forward. Like, this is the I'm just gonna grind Angela's gears and fuck with her, like, and just do whatever I want."
Yeah,
she's free now. She doesn't have to be locked up.
That was a rough season for Emma.
Yeah.
But again, her name is at the end of the episode. I don't even think her name was in the beginning, like guest starring Margaret Ladd.
Is she in the credits starring in season 2? Or do they push her off for another season?
I believe they push her off. I think because in season 2 she goes away for a bit, so she's kind of returning still.
Yeah.
But in 3 she becomes, I think, a full-time member.
Okay. It's very exciting. I think just like being in this more soapy part of the season, it kind of started to remind me of things that are coming, and I'm getting really excited. Oh, I was wrong. I thought Jacqueline appeared one more time, but she didn't.
Yeah. She does come early, I believe, in season 2, though. I believe. Like
For some reason, I thought she was around for Douglas's funeral.
But that's why, like the first 13 episodes, I feel like really lay the groundwork. Like you learn the relationships of everybody. They get like pretty much bonded and close, and then like Melissa comes in, stirs shit up, and then and Carlo even, with Carlo being around, that stirs shit up for some crazy shit to come. And we lose.
Yeah, I mean, before I had watched this, I had always said Knots Landing is my favorite out of the 80s primetime soap. I was like, I have no interest in Falcon Crest, whatever. And then I actually committed to watching it, and I was like, Falcon Crest is my number 2. It blew past everybody. I was like, still love Not Planning, but Falcon Crest has quickly become my number 2.
Well, this is exactly why. Dynasty is what it is. It's glitz, glamour.
It's campy. It's dramatic. It's
campy, dramatic, but it's not great storytelling. It's Aaron Spelling. Aaron Spelling. He's kind of all over the place in a way. He's great. Don't get me wrong, but
he's plot.
Right, exactly. Plot, and then things disappear and plots don't finish a lot of times. But in this, I feel like most of the things are done, written well, which is why
seeds are planted for future things.
Yeah. Like they made you excited for Richard just from the season finale. You're just like, who's this fucker? You know, like we can't wait to see what's happening with this guy.
It made me excited knowing that Richard's coming. I don't know if it would have made me as excited watching this. I probably over the summer would have forgot about a mention of a Richard.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would if you don't stick with things. You'd be like,
I mean, I even forgot he was mentioned in season 1.
But they did mention him
before watching this.
Yeah, I remember they did line it up for that. But we do lose Douglas. Douglas dies, R.I.P., which is sad, because he's such a great guy. I do miss Douglas.
I was trying to remember like what the cliffhanger was of the season, because every year I was just like, oh, I feel like every cliffhanger like season ended with like a big thing, and I was
like, the next season.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say what, but I thought Carlo was the cliffhanger of this season for some reason.
Right.
Because that 2 ends with Julia.
Right. Well, no, that's early on in the season 2.
Yeah.
That's why I love season 2, because that's another thing. Like for you, like Richard is you're hyped about, and like I like the murder mystery thing going on, because I can't wait to talk about some of this stuff in the future with what they do, which you'll probably, I want to see if you notice it in one of the episodes closer to, I think it's closer to end of season 2, but it's really kind of funny what they do. It's something that it's a little campy, and we'll see if you catch it.
Okay.
I didn't catch it until my second run through, because the first time I didn't catch it at all, and then this time I was like, oh shit.
Well, maybe I will, since I'm like more hyper focused on everything.
It's good.
Yeah, so season 1, for me, with the exception of maybe like 1 or 2 episodes feeling like they were filler, even though there were little nuggets here and there in them, I thought it was great. I mean, the same could be said for Knots Landing, like Land of the Brave or Land of the Free. I hate that episode of Knots, but so like you were saying,
which one is that? There's 300 episodes. How do you remember a title? I don't remember any
because
of them.
I hate it so much. I had to know what it was called.
Like if you asked me like Heir Apparent, like a Falcon Crest, I'd be
the motorcycle gang episode.
Oh yeah. I
the worst
totally
episode ever.
It could have been better. They could have done that, but it was just, I get it. I do. That's one of the few I wasn't a big fan of either. Not much happened in it. There was nothing, and then it wasn't like ongoing stories, so there was nothing.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, like, so you were saying, the first 13 episodes of Falcon Crest feel like almost like a character study. We're learning about these relationships, kind of like Knots, and then like these last 5 felt like season 2 Knots. Like we're getting a little bit more soapy. There's like overlapping storylines, threads that are going through each episode. So I'm liking it. I'm excited to see Jacqueline again in a larger capacity.
I really wish she was in like a whole season or 2. Like, oh man, the stuff they could have done.
I know.
Could have been killer. They probably couldn't afford her though, honestly, because Jane Wyman alone was probably expensive for being a classic movie star.
Although I still haven't finished the series, I'm just gonna allow this to be how I finish it. So I have to make my way up to season 7 again, where I was. I felt like every season was like my next favorite, like my newest favorite season of Falcon Crest. Every time I watched, I was like, I love this season. I love this season.
See, now that's exactly how I felt. That's why I love it so much. And you know what it is? And it's not like Knots Landing's no better, because Knots Landing does a killer writing job. But I just feel like the characters are so, I don't know, I can't explain it. But like you have Emma, who's like fully committed, fully entertaining. Julia gets a lot better soon, and then Melissa is like, I just feel like the characters are just better somehow. I don't know, I can't explain it.
So like with most shows, like the main cast has like a multi-year contract, like usually 5 seasons, 4 or 5 seasons, if not more. And then they start making budget cuts as like the show gets older and like they have less money and blah blah blah, whatever. Falcon Crest, I just felt like they didn't give a fuck. They're like, we'll kill you. I don't care. You have a 1-year contract. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I was
Yep,
just
yep.
like I remember watching it and I was just like they will kill any like I felt scared for every single character on the show because I feel like they'll kill anybody. They don't care. They'll kill anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I do have some story. I do have some stories to tell you, because I met like some future characters that come in like season. Wait, I'm just trying to think of when Sarah Douglas comes. It's like season 3.
Hmm.
But and they told me a couple like behind the scenes tidbits, so I can
Oh, cool.
I can fill you in because and it's funny because I didn't even ask them. Like I was just like, I love you on Falcon Crest, and like, and they're like, well, and then like they would tell me stuff, and I'm like, ooh, all right.
Soundgrass is like, oh, you want to pursue other projects? We'll kill you off. It's fine. We'll replace you. You're replaceable.
Yeah, they did, and they did that to Sarah Douglas. So I'll tell you in the future how they, when you see that. But oh wait, did we say Vicky and Mario did not end up getting married?
They did not. The end result was
They went
excited.
home.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, do we say that? I don't know if we said that.
I don't think
So
we
I think
actually got to that. I think we got excited about Lance and Melissa.
So yeah, so we end with Melissa wanting to meet Richard. We have Emma is free. And then what did Angela say at the end? She's like about Chase. He thinks he's won.
And then
So we have that.
I took a mental note. I was like, wow, we ended an episode with Angela smiling.
Yeah.
She's usually
right?
scowling or like plotting something or like foiled again.
Because I think she just thinks ultimately I think she's that confident. She's just like, yeah, I won. Like, I don't know. She's like, Chase didn't win anything. Whatever. She's I don't know what she thinks. But and then so yeah, and the whole Chase and their family's all intact. The only one I think probably upset is Cole because Melissa's married to Lance.
Yeah, we'll get more of that next season.
Yeah, so I think we covered everything.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for our season 1 of Falcon Crest wrap-up episode. Very excited to get into season 2 and everything going forward. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night. Bye.
Bye.